Hello, everybody. I am Keaton, and this is Kid Catholic Season 7, Episode 24. We're winding down on Season 7, which is crazy. But something that is coming up just next week is Ash Wednesday. The start of Lent is about to happen, which is pretty crazy because, I don't know about y'all, but to me it seems like this year has gone by very fast. So I wanted to talk about Ash Wednesday, but before we get into that, I wanted to remind y'all that not only do I create videos on YouTube, but I also give talks to several churches, parishes, conferences all throughout the United States. I've given talks in Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New York, Indiana. So if you want to book me to come speak, please go to kidcatholic1@gmail.com and email me from there. Or just simply go to kidcatholic.com and go to the contact me page, and you can contact me from there to get a speaking gig. So please go do that. Oh, and also check out kidcatholic.com, of course. So for today's video, like I said, I want to talk about Ash Wednesday, but first, specifically, Mardi Gras, because Mardi Gras is coming up just before Ash Wednesday. A lot of y'all might be wondering, what does Mardi Gras have to do with the Catholic faith? What does it have to do with Ash Wednesday? Because for a long time, I was wondering the exact same thing. However, Mardi Gras in French actually means Fat Tuesday, and the reason, the origins behind Mardi Gras are actually very Catholic. It was when Ash Wednesday is the beginning of Lent, right? It is the beginning where we fast, where we give up things for Lent. Lent is a sacrificial time, which I'll get more into next week, but Ash Wednesday is the start of that. And so the Tuesday before that Wednesday, they would party, they would feast, they would eat up all they can before they had to sacrifice and give up things for Lent. And so that's where Fat Tuesday comes from. It was called Fat Tuesday, which is now Mardi Gras. So that's just kind of a cool fact that Mardi Gras actually has very Catholic origins. Now I want to talk about Ash Wednesday itself. Now, Ash Wednesday is a very important Mass to attend. However, it is not a holy day of obligation. This means that we don't have to go to Mass on that day. What is a holy day of obligation are Sundays, the Christmas Mass, Easter. Those are holy day of obligations, right? Ash Wednesday is not a holy day of obligation. However, in my opinion, to be honest, it really should be. It's one of the most popular masses, and it's one that I highly, 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 highly suggest that you go to. Like, I absolutely suggest it. It is so greatly important to go. This is the Mass when we get the ashes on our forehead in the sign of the cross, right? Now, it's kind of sad because the two most populated Masses, or two of the most populated Masses, are Palm Sunday and Ash Wednesday, when people just get free stuff when they get ashes on their forehead, which is kind of sad when you think about it, but it's sad. And we should go to Mass to give, to worship to God. Anyway, so Ash Wednesday, where the ashes comes from, even has a reason. I said in a couple episodes ago, I said everything in the Catholic Church has a reason behind it, even where we get the ashes from, which is just crazy. We get the ashes from the palms on Palm Sunday. They are burnt from the previous year. They are burnt and made into ashes, and that's where we get the ashes from, which is really cool. But something that I wanted to focus on for this episode is there are two things that the priest can say when putting ashes on your forehead. One of them is turn away from sin and believe in the gospel, which is a pretty simple one. Now that's not the one my priest uses during Ash Wednesday, but that's pretty straightforward. Turn away from sin and believe in the gospel. That's clear as to what it means, right? This next one is remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when I was little, that would always terrify me. Every time he was putting it on my forehead and I heard him say that, I'd be like, I'm gonna turn to dust? What? It was scary, okay? It was scary for me. But then you need to take a sec to stop and actually think about what it really means. What does the priest really mean when saying that? Well, we know from Genesis that God created man out of dust, right? And he reminds Adam in Genesis, he says, you are dust. He uses that term in Genesis. So it's even biblical, is remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return. But this doesn't mean that we're just gonna die and never, no. Okay, what this means is we came from nothing, right? We know that we came from nothing, but we were created by God. We were dust. And what it means when it says to dust we shall return, it means our bodies, right? And we will be restored with our bodies someday, right? But it means our bodies will turn to dust. Our souls will live forever. Our bodies will turn to dust, right? And it's sort of a reminder that not mainly our bodies, but everything that we own, all our earthly possessions, all the things that might be distracting us, all the things that might take up our time, For example, this camera, the computer I use for Kid Catholic, my phone, the phones that can take up so much of our time, all of that will turn to dust. And it is a reminder that all of that is worthless. When it comes to the very end of the day, it is absolutely worthless. It does not get us to heaven, which is the ultimate goal. So yes, our bodies will turn to dust, but if we get to heaven, we will be restored with our bodies in general, right? And then they will no longer beat us. But all our earthly possessions will turn to dust. Everything that we have will turn to dust. And that can sound scary, right? But it's not. Because our soul will live on. And if we build that relationship with God, then our soul will live on in heaven, right? Forever. Heaven is just the most joyful place you could ever imagine, right? No suffering, no bad, nothing negative in heaven. And so that's sort of the reminder that he says when he says, remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Because it always scared me. But then when you start to think about it, it's a good thing, right? It's a reminder that our earthly possessions don't matter. It's a reminder to put the distractions away. It's a reminder to focus on God. To focus on our soul, on our spiritual life. Because, kind of think about it. Yes, our physical health is important, but do we ever stop to think about our spiritual health? And that is a reminder that our spiritual well-being is most important, because it will not turn to dust. It will live on forever. So it actually has a really big meaning behind it. Now the other one, turn away from sin and believe in the gospel. Like I said, that's pretty straightforward. Turn away from sin and believe in the gospel. I was trying to explain what it meant, but when I was trying to explain what it meant, I just repeated what it was. Now, Ash Wednesday is the beginning of Lent. And like I said, Lent is a time is a sacrificial time, and like I said, I'll get more into that next week. But it's important to be preparing for that. It's important to be preparing for Lent coming up, which will be next week's topic, by the way, if I haven't mentioned that like 30 times. But Ash Wednesday is such an important day. It's such an important day to go to Mass, and it's not a holy day of obligation. However, it is very, very, very important that we go to Mass that day. In fact, some churches in like bigger areas, for example, New York, I know one in New York does this. Some churches in bigger areas, they will have priests just standing there, just ready to give ashes, and so people can walk in off the street, get ashes on their forehead, turn around and leave, which kind of seemed foreign to me because, like, my church, it's a mass. It's a mass where you come up and receive ashes. You don't have to be Catholic to receive ashes. You do the Eucharist, but you don't have to be Catholic to receive ashes. But yeah, it's just, I think it's cool. I don't know. Receiving ashes on the forehead, I'm trying to like put into words what I'm trying to say. Basically, it's almost like sticking ourselves out there. It's almost like a flag or a shirt on our chest that says, I am Catholic, right? And so sometimes if we're in workplace or we're going to school, what if we want to go to Mass in the morning, receive those ashes, and then go to school? It can kind of be scary, right? It can kind of be nerve-wracking. Like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this because then everybody's going to know I'm Catholic. But it's an important step to take because, yes, Catholics aren't the most loved people right now, but it is so important to be proud of our faith. And that's part of Ash Wednesday. That's part of going to Mass in general, is being proud of our faith, right? And like I said, Ash Wednesday is such an important It's such an important holy day to get those ashes on our forehead to remind us that we are dust, and to dust we shall return. Or to remind us to turn away from sin and turn toward the gospel. Because I want to talk more about that. Turn away from sin and turn toward the gospel. At the end of the day, the gospel, right? The good is what is going to get us to heaven. And I know it's not as easy as just simply turning away from sin. It's not that easy. It's going to be difficult. Nobody said being Catholic is going to be easy. However, it is necessary, right? It's necessary to turn away from sin. And even though it's going to be very, very hard, it all starts with prayer. It all comes back to prayer. And so when we hear the priest say whatever words he uses, whether it's turn away from sin and believe in the gospel, or whether it is remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return. When we hear that, not this Wednesday, but the next Wednesday, when we hear that on Ash Wednesday, I want us to stop and take a moment to really think about what that really means and how impactful those words really are. So now that the topic is done, do y'all know what it's time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week!
And today's Saint of the Week is St. Louis IX. Now, St. Louis IX has a simple and short yet incredible story. And he's not a very well known saint. However, he was born in the year 1214. He succeeded the throne at age 12, which was super young. However, he didn't. He was under his mother, and his mother was technically the one ruling. And then when he turned 21, he assumed full kingship. Now, he always did what was best for the people. He was a devout Catholic, and he always did what went with the Catholic Church's teaching. And so when it came to international disputes, he stayed neutral most of the time. However, there was this one dispute where he had to get involved and defend the Catholic faith, and he did that, and as a result, he was forced to go to war with England. However, with the help of God, he won the war and defeated Henry III. But the innocent people whose lives were affected or homes were smashed or property destroyed because of the war, St. Louis IX donated to them and looked out for them and prayed for them and actually donated a lot of money and rectified what he had done for what he had done to them. And he rectified and he apologized and they forgave him, which is really cool. He also led 2 crusades. However, in the year 1270, he died due to an illness. However, his story, like I said, short and simple, yet absolutely incredible because it truly shows what a good person he was. After all that, he didn't want to go to war. He stayed neutral, but after he was forced to, he apologized. He made up for what he had done, which is just really cool to think about. And it's really cool to think about a king who stayed that Catholic. And why I chose him to go with today's topic is because earlier I talked about sort of being proud of your faith, right? Sticking your neck out there. And being proud of your faith. And St. Louis IX did just that. He was so proud of his faith. He stuck his neck out there and made sure that he was always going with Catholic teaching. He stayed proud of his faith. And I want to repeat that. He stayed proud of his faith. And anytime we feel like it might be hard for us to do that, anytime we feel like we're struggling with that, or anytime we feel like we might be ashamed of our faith, we can always look to St. Louis IX and pray through him for help. So, thank you all so much for watching. This was Kid Catholic Season 7, Episode 24, and long outro. Here we go. Please check out my website, kidcatholic.com. There's so many awesome things you can do on there. You can read about me. You can contact me. You can buy your very own Kid Catholic t-shirt on there. Like I said, please book me for speaking engagements. Go to kidcatholic.com and go to the Contact Me page, or email me directly at kidcatholic1@gmail.com. Also, please check out all 3 of my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description and in the comments below. Please comment any saint or topic suggestions that you might have. I would love to hear it. Please like the video. Please click the red subscribe button down below. That way you get notified, and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Please share this channel and video with your friends and family. Make sure that they know about Kid Catholic. This was Kid Catholic Season 7, Episode 24. I'll see y'all next week, and hi, Brielle.